Okay. So I've been working with a bunch of misfits, digital misfits and collaborators, and basically coming from this position that we've been trying to sell high concept things to broadcasters, to brands in this space about how this is moving on. You've got agnostic platforms like Zbox in there who are saying they can do it, but I think a lot of people are feeling it's just not that sort of rich experience yet that really is going to make a behaviour change with audiences. And my experience of it has come from, the problem is you come up with an idea, you can concept it to death, come up with a nice PowerPoint presentation, might even do a sizzler tape, you go and see a commissioner and they still can't get it. And it's going to come with 50 grand price tag to even do a prototype. And I know, the BBC Children's Department have been looking at this space. I know they've been prototyping. I don't quite know where they've got to with it, but trying to get that into the mainstream or where tech gets built has been really hard. So we've been coming at it at another angle, going, okay, we need to be able to prototype really, really cheaply and quickly. Take a program apart and play with it in an edit, and then be able to create the illusion of what it's like, so that you can sit in a room and actually feel what the second screen experience goes without building the whole app. And so what we've been doing, partly because I work with Lion TV on helping them on their digital stuff around horrible histories, with their permission, I've been on Monday, so this is how quickly you can develop something. Myself and a colleague who's been working remotely in the small hours, we basically knocked up what could be a prototype, to get to a stage that you could take this and see people. So this is a dangerous bit.
You're going to do a live demonstration out here.
So, so what we're doing here.
Don't worry, I've got some jokes.
So I'm now controlling.
Release the tiger.
I'm going to get Alex to hold it.
Technically, I don't have thumbs.
Can you hold it right up?
Release the tiger.
So what we've created is something which is just bringing in effectively JPEGs that we knocked together in a PowerPoint presentation and imported into a system that is now synchronized with the show. It's running off the same time code as the show. And we didn't really know, I had an idea in my head, started creating the time codes. But only when I started putting them into the system did I start feeling, actually that's wrong, that's the wrong pace of the show. So can you read that? Can people with that read it, or do I need to read it out?
Hello and welcome to Gory Games with me, Dave Lamb, and my assistant, Ratus.
So what was interesting about this was actually when we thought Gory Games, brilliant show, it's a quiz show. I know from seeing lots of kids in focus groups and anecdotally, kids shouting at the telly and wanting to answer the questions. And there's nothing, the one thing that's doing that in an analog fashion that you can't do is that sort of get over that point where, yeah, I knew that answer. You know, which is what tends to happen when you're actually watching a quiz show with other people in the room. Is you go, yeah, I was going to say that. So this is the way that you can actually do it. But actually, there's a long bit of the program at the beginning which didn't have any interactivity. So we then started throwing in extra slides to just see what would happen. And for the processes of this, we decided we work out how often those interactions would happen. So if we have the audio up a little bit now.
To smash it open. Of course, we decided that horse riding was far too dangerous.
Well, that's very sensible for once.
Yes, so our contestants will just run up to the barrel and keep smashing it until the cat falls out. Okay, get ready.
Hang on. Until the what falls out?
Didn't I mention? They will put a cat inside the barrel, and when it falls out, you get to kill it. Right, 3, 2...
No way. No one is bashing a cat. All right, not on my watch. What is wrong with you?
The cat's Dave.
Yes, but cats are lovely. People like cats. I like cats. Now, what are you little pussykins? Don't worry. No one's going to bash you today. And no one's going to bash you today.
That sort of thing shouldn't be allowed on television. I feel sick. Can we move on, please?
Right, Oliver, Kaylee, Amari, you are playing to win year spheres. Each year sphere contains a historical date, and at the end of the show, your year sphere dates will be added up, with AD dates being added to your total, and BC dates being subtracted from it. So, if these were your year spheres, your total would be, Ratus? Bearing in mind that the answer is 735?
50.
Oh dear. At the end of the show, the person with the highest year score will win a horribly historical prize.
And I picked it out myself, so you have my word that it will be genuinely historic.
As well as genuinely horrible. Right, let's get cracking. And to find out what this round's about, it's over to the gory grid.
It's the frightful First World War.
4 questions on the frightful First World War coming up. The person who gets the most right wins the first year sphere. And your 4 First World War topics are pigeons, weapons, lice, and bombs. So, Oliver, it's your turn to pick first in this round. What do you have?
Lice.
Lice. That is a question from Mr. Ratus Ratus.
It certainly is. True or false?
So we haven't built in the
One soldier
functionality.
in World War I
But if
was
you
found to
imagine-
be carrying 10,428 lice on his body.
I can be
So is the
pressing
answer true,
true.
or is it false? Show me now.
Go on, true.
So, they've all gone for
You
true.
get my
What's the
personal
answer,
response.
Ratus?
They're all right, it's true. He also
And I'm
had
starting to get points from my second
10,253 lice eggs on him.
We'll do a couple more.
I tried to count my lice,
Remember what I did.
but they just wouldn't keep still. Oh, there goes another one. Oh, I think it landed on you, Dave.
Oh, not again. Ratus, you've got to control your lice. Kaylee, it's your turn to pick a topic.
Weapons.
Weapons. Let's hear that question.
True or false? On September the 15th, 1960, the British unveiled the first ever
True test.
submarine.
False.
Is that true or false? Okay, Kaylee and Amari have gone for true. Oliver, on his own, with false. Let's find out what the answer is.
It's false. They unveiled the first
So,
ever tank.
you don't want to see any
Tanks
more,
were
you've
originally
got the
called
gist of it, yeah?
land ships.
I feel like David McGee, by the way. Very good. So fundamentally, where we're trying to get to is something, we didn't do any internal editing in the show, and I think going back to Alex's point, now we'd have that. If you're doing that with a new show, you then start playing with the format, you might make a bit more time to answer those questions.
This is what I want to explore with this. So what are we solving here? So you've taken a show that already exists and you've overlaid a second screen. Yes, I get that, but let's take it into brand new development.
Okay.
What would that do for you?
So I think we both have a view that there's lots of things that you can't currently do in television, and particularly tying gaming to what you're watching. So actually, when you're playing a game show at the moment, most of what we would have is quiz questions. In gory games, for instance, there's a bit where they go down the chute and they end up doing very physical puzzles. And right now, you can't do a physical puzzle rhetorically. And it's one of the real challenges of game shows. I made a few in my time, and you sort of go, it makes good entertainment, but it also starts to become more distancing, because you can't tell someone how to do to fix a puzzle. And Crystal Maze was very good at it because they gave you enough information so you could still shout at the TV. But that's one of the real challenges.
Mm-hmm.
If you had that same puzzle on your pad and you had to get the pieces together in the time ahead of them, then you're starting to move into new territory.
Back to the economics, though. You know, we know kids do a lot that's interactive. We know second screen stuff exists. Is this going? Why is this going to change either a producer or a broadcaster to start funding? And here's the critical word: funding second screen, because it seems to me, just in the 40 minutes we spent so far, that if that activity is there but stuff's not happening, people aren't seeing the value yet, or the value equation isn't right. The amount of money you have to spend to your return in reach or revenue. Why is it going to solve that?
So first of all, I think the cost of entry is too high, so we're trying to bring that down.
Yeah.
I think people are spending money on their digital inventory, and increasingly, but that's that's offline. No, that's asynchronous. It's out there on the big bad web.
Mixing your digital.
Yeah, I know. And it's out there on the web, which is becoming increasingly cluttered, increasingly hard for anyone to find anything. And what you do here is at the point of where you've captured someone's imagination, you are bringing the two worlds together. So for me, it's about exploiting what you've already got, and that's brand building. That's building to brands and having breakthrough brands. I think outside of public service broadcasters, there is also a commercial interest, doing things around advert breaks, making sure that you bring people back episode after episode, so you can imagine gamification across series, loyalty, and although we've got the most regulated children's broadcast sort of system in the world, in terms of what you can and can't do with advertising and things. We still have a model with children's advertising. So you could see, and we have product placement now.
Yep.
So things like Annabelle's Kitchen. There's no reason why the interactivity couldn't be brought to you
on the second screen.
on the second screen. I think we have to be really clear about it. I think we have to have really strong rules, and, so that we're not exploiting. But bearing in mind we've already gone into that world where branding and advertising is part of children's vernacular.
So your argument here is, if maybe the reason broadcasters aren't funding this is either too expensive or doesn't deliver you the value, there's now the beginnings of tool sets to help that ideas creation. I'm going to open this up slightly to the audience. Can we have